Hi, Shane here from Junktique in Clovis, New Mexico and in Amarillo, Texas. Today I am going to show you the very basics of using Annie Sloan wax. We're going to use her clear wax. What the tools that I do have with me are an Annie Sloan wax brush, which has been used very heavily. Like I just showed you, we have Annie Sloan's clear wax. Now this is the large tin. This comes in 3 sizes. This huge monster, what I call the regular size can, and then the small little sample can. What else do I have? I have a tin opener, and I have good blue shop towels. Now I suggest this all the time for everybody who's waxing, unless you're going over Oxford Navy or Athenian Black. We are currently in my happy place where everything is Annie Sloan, like everything from the floors all the way up to the walls, and the gold leafing, which is recent and it's one of my favorite things, to this piece that we're currently working on. Now this piece is a blend, something fun that I've been really trying to push onto lately, of a custom made navy blue. I think we made this using Napoleonic and some Rodmol, and then it blends out into Old Violet. I had to think there for a second. The top I have sanded it smooth because when I was blending I had a lot of little random bits of this and that, so you can see all the sanding marks, but when we wax this is going to become much more clear. Okay, so I've got my wax brush, I've got my wax. I am going to simply pop the lid off of my wax, and I want you to see, like, these are actually very useful because it's more economical. It's just like everything else in life. When you buy in bulk, you actually pay less per use. And I have used the heck out of this. I think since these have come out, I think this is my 3rd one, because we clear wax everything because it's really good stuff. Anyways, so I'm gonna set this here. Yeah, it's kind of hard because I don't have a huge workspace to show you this from, because we're using this little end table. So I'm gonna get a little bit of wax. JD, you want to make sure you can be close on this. I'm gonna get a little bit of wax. Now, can you see that clearly? A little bit of wax goes a long way. And a big thing I want to say, and one of the huge reasons why I am making this video, is because there's so many misconceptions when it comes to the wax. One, it shouldn't be work. If it's work, then you're doing it wrong. This is not a Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off, let's do it until we've built up insane biceps kind of thing. This is very, very simple, and it's very, very light. In more of the misconceptions of wax, because there are so many other chalky paints, there's many misconceptions because they all have their own version of wax. Most of the time, the issue with it is these other chalky type paints are really flat latex. They're latex with an additive to give them more solids into the paint. But because they're latex, the wax actually sits on the top like a piece of cheese, like you're covering cheese. So I mean, you imagine doing an armchair and you're using this armchair and you use the arms a lot and you're cleaning it, because it's sitting on the top, you're eventually going to wear that off. This wax absorbs into the paint. The paint is super absorbent, and then you wipe off all the excess. So you're not leaving this essentially like a top coat. You're not leaving a top coat of wax that goes over the top of the piece. The piece is drinking in all that it needs. It's fusing with the paint and creating something very durable and really quite wonderful when it's done correctly. And it's very easy to do it correctly. So I think, did I go off on a tangent there a little bit? Anyways, so a little bit of wax goes a really long way. So I've got my wax. Let me get one of my blue shop towels. One other thing I'm going to tell you, buy these in the roll. Don't buy them in the box. Like, I don't even know why we got this one in the box. I think I got it because I was like, oh, this is going to be more simple, but it's more expensive and it's really no more simple. You still have to tear them off, so just get the rolls. But you want the good ones. You don't want random who knows what brands. I really suggest that. Otherwise, you get lots of little bits and lint. Okay, so JD, how close can you get with this?
You're pretty close.
Okay, so you see all of these lines from me sanding?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's chalk paint. It's designed to look chalky when it's dry, when it's set. That's why it's called chalk paint, not because you make chalkboards or whatever else with it. It's called chalk paint because of its finish when it's dry. But because of that, when I sanded it, made all of these lighter, scuffy marks. But when you wax it, those all magically disappear, and it becomes this smooth, beautiful, continual color. Now, I really want you to notice I am not pushing. I'm really not applying any pressure whatsoever. I'm letting my brush do the work, which is what it's intended to do. And I am very lightly just dragging it across the surface. Now, once you've done an area and you feel like, your wax isn't quite going as I say that, but this is still going. Like it's still going. So, once you've done a piece and you're like, your wax isn't really going further anymore, you take your cloth. Now, I always suggest that you fold this into fours because you have one side, two side, three side, four side, and then when that's all used, you turn it inside out, fold it back into fours, and you've got four more. So one sheet of this goes pretty far. I always suggest you fold it into fours for that reason, and because when you're wiping off the wax, you really kind of want a clean surface, or a clean utensil. What do I call that? A clean something to remove the wax. Because if this is full of wax, it's not going to really take this wax off. It'll burnish it, it'll start to kind of buff it, and then you'll have an uneven finish. You'll have some spots that are matte and some spots that are glossy because you're burnishing the wax from here onto there. So again, 8 different sections if you use one of these. When it gets kind of full of wax and gunky, flip it to another side. And I always suggest you hold it like this. So, slight break in the video, but here we are again. So, I always suggest you hold one of these flat like you're wiping a tabletop or you're wiping a baby's bottom. It's very, flat, not like grumped up and where you're like really applying pressure with fingertips or whatnot. You just want it to be flat, like you're wiping up some spilled liquid on the table. Just like that. So, let's continue on. You always work in sections with the wax. You never wax the whole piece and then come and wipe it all off. Always, always work in sections. And again, I'm not scrubbing. I'm just pretty much, I don't know how to even explain that. Just kind of running all across the top. Now, for the sake of expediency in this video, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this top. JD, you're way up there. Are you getting this good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I was saying earlier, the wax really richens the color. So it's really quite easy to see where it has wax and where it doesn't have wax. Or where it has absorbed the wax and where it has not absorbed the wax. You're also, one other tip I can give you is you always wax the way that you painted. So if you paint from left to right, you want to wax from left to right. If you paint up and down, you want to wax up and down. Now if you paint like how I normally paint, which is just, getting it done, let's go every which way, let's spread the paint out, and then I can lightly feather it smooth, then you kind of want to go every which way. Again, just making sure that this paint has absorbed all that it can. I should be wiping that off, but again, I'm not for the sake of expediency. So I'm just continuing my ridge around. Kind of have too much wax. And you know, that's the thing about the wax. You really don't want to use all that much because it's only going to ever absorb so much. Pause really quick. Okay, so unpause. Like I was saying, you really don't want to use so much wax because it'll only absorb so much. So, you know, if you use a lot, you're just going to wipe it all back off with one of these cloths. So again, cloth, and I'm just going to gently wipe it off. Wiping off all of the excess. Now I'm going around my edge. Getting a clean section, flicking it around. Just lightly wiping it, and then I'm done. That's how easy it is to wax. It really is. Just listen to your stockist. Again, there's so many misconceptions because there's so many different kinds of wax. But with Annie Sloan, it really is designed to be very easy. It's designed so that everybody can do it, and it's really easy, as you've just seen. Bye.